The Kfir C2 is the aviation reward for the 2022 Battle for Arrakis event in War Thunder. Let's check it out. The C2 was the first upgrade version of this plane, and included an extensive list of improvements, including new aerodynamic features, additional weapon hardpoints, and upgrades to the internal electronics equipment. By the time the C2 was ready, the F-15 had basically taken over as the air superiority fighter for the Israeli Air Force, so the Kfir was shifted more into a strike role, with the C2 being able to carry an extensive range of air-to-ground weaponry in addition to its air-to-air missiles. Despite this, the C2 is the version that actually scored the only air-to-air kill for the entire plane in Israeli service. Now, the C2 version was exported to a few international customers as well, and saw service with Sri Lanka, Colombia, and Ecuador. Eventually, all of Israel's C2s were upgraded to the C7 standard. In War Thunder, this is classified as a jet fighter, not a strike aircraft. It sits in Rank 7 of the Israeli Air Tree at Battle Rating 11.0, and is the aviation reward in the Battle for Arrakis event. The weapon system includes the ELTA EL-M2001B Pulse Doppler radar set, which is, well, basically the most advanced radar rangefinder in the game. It's resistant to ground clutter and has an effective range a bit past 5 kilometers. But in practice, it doesn't really do much for you outside of simulator battles. The good news is that the C2 has a full ballistics computer for all of its weapons, which makes sense considering that this was used as an unescorted strike jet out in actual service. You gain access to a large number of weapon loadouts, with 2 air-to-air missiles on the outboard wing pylons, and a variety of air-to-ground ordnance on all the others, including both wing and fuselage-mounted weapon stations. No guided air-to-ground weapons, but you can take a pair of gun pods. The air-to-air missiles you get to start off with are the AIM-9D, which is pretty basic, and eventually you're going to graduate to the AIM-9G, which is a far more capable weapon and will probably give you most of your air-to-air kills with the plane. The flight performance, like with the C7, is excellent. The plane is highly maneuverable, easily supersonic even at low levels, and it climbs well. A couple of caveats to watch out for. If you have the hydraulic boosters equipped, the plane loves to rip its wings very easily if you pull into a hard turn with ordnance out on the wings. Also, like with most deltas, it bleeds energy hard in tight turns. Plus, the afterburner on this one is thirsty, so make sure you're keeping an eye on your fuel, especially on larger maps. As always, all the performance goes into the toilet when you're loaded up with bombs and rockets. Now, flying out on missions is broadly comparable to other top-tier jet fighters, but with a couple things to consider. The plane doesn't get a normal radar set, so you might not want to be the tip of the spear when your team flies out. Plus, with only 2 air-to-air missiles, your endurance in air combat can be a little limited. Now, in close air support, you don't have any guided standoff weapons, so you're going to be limited to dumb bombs and rockets. This kind of forces you to getting close if you want accuracy, which in turn makes you incredibly vulnerable to even mildly competent anti-air units at the higher tiers. The C2 absolutely can fly out as close air support, and it's not bad at it. Just keep in mind, it's simply not going to be the king. Visually, I think this is a really nice looking jet, just like the C7. The default paint job is pretty nice, and you can unlock a desert camo for it too if that's more your thing. There are no special caveats over the C7 for landing or with the cockpit. To close out on the Kfir C2, this plane can carry a high quantity of air-to-ground weapons. It has strong flight performance, and it's an event vehicle, so you can get it kinda free-ish. However, it doesn't get a search radar, the quantity of countermeasures is limited, and it doesn't get any guided air-to-ground weapons. The final verdict on the C2 version is that this is a great multi-role jet, and it feels pretty balanced overall, but my gut tells me it should probably be a little lower in BR given the limitations I just mentioned. Since you can get this as an event reward, I think a lot of players will find a good use for it in their lineups, especially the tanker mains out there who are grinding the Israeli tech tree and want a free-ish jet for close air support waiting for them when they get to the top tier with their tanks. As always, thanks for watching.